Hello, boys and girls. Happy Wednesday and also happy Earth Day. I don't know if any of you know, but today is Earth Day. So even though every day should be Earth Day, today is a day that we think about how we can help our Earth by maybe picking up garbage near our house if we ask our parents first, being sure that we are recycling. Remember in the classroom, we have that blue recycling bin that we'll use for paper and cardboard, that sort of thing. So be thinking today about some things that you can do to help our Earth. So, in honor of Earth Day, I decided to take a little break today from the BFG and share the Lorax with you. This is a book you may have heard before. It was made into a movie, so some of you may have seen the movie also. But it is written by Dr. Seuss, and it's called The Lorax, and that's what I will share with you today. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town where the grinkle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. You can see the boy here. It doesn't look like a very nice place. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives there. Ask him, he knows. So this is the old house of the Onceler. It doesn't look like it's very well taken care of. Things look a little crooked. That cactus up there doesn't look so good. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps, if you're willing to pay. So if you look really closely up here through those little shutters, you can see the eyes of the Onceler. And this little sign on his house saying the Onceler. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. So he's tossing those things inside. Also, you can think to yourself, which coins would make 15 cents? Think of two coins that could make 15 cents. A little math review. Then he pulls up the pail, making a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grovelous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whispermaphone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. So he takes the money, sends down his whispermaphone all the way from the top. Slup. Down slups the whispermaphone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time ago. So look at this page, look at the house, look at the sky, the ground. And here's what it looked like a long time ago. Are you ready? It's beautiful. Ooh, look at that. So that's how it looked a long time ago. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami Swans rang out in space, One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. That looks like a nice place. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sounds of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. So here's the Onceler talking. Um, he's the man that lived in the house, and he's telling about long ago when he first came to this place. And he first saw those beautiful truffula trees. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. Because of that digraph th, thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. A lot of those ish suffix there. Shortish, oldish, brownish, sharpish. Mister, I said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? So this is the Lorax popping up, and he speaks for the trees because the trees don't have tongues. They can't speak for themselves. Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed. So he thinks he's greedy. He's kind of taking more than he needs or using what he doesn't necessarily need. Do you think there are people who would buy something crazy like that? Probably. There's lots of crazy things out there that people buy. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. Oh, there's some not so nice words on this part. I'll read it, but I know that you wouldn't use these words in real life. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy. Ooh, that wasn't very nice. Remember, sometimes in stories we'll hear language or words that are not necessarily kind or words that we wouldn't use, but we can sometimes hear them in stories. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Be quiet, if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, I built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, Listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken and sharp right at South Stitch. So the Onceler's calling all of his family members, come out quick. We'll get rich off these thneeds. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, The whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sounds of the chopping of truffula trees. If you kind of look around, you're seeing less and less of the trees. We see a lot of just kind of stumps. The grass is still green, the sky is still blue, but there's lots of stumps. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now, chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. So now there's a machine to chop down 4 trees at once instead of just one at a time. But the next week, he knocked at my door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who happily play in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits." Well, they don't look so good, those barbaloots, do they? Oh. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruits to go round, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. Remember, they ate the fruit from the truffula trees? So with those truffula trees down, they don't have the fruit to eat, so they're getting kind of sick. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. "Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. So the Onceler, the Lorax rather, had to kind of send them off. They had to find a new home where they can have things that they can eat to survive. Before I read this page, just kind of take a look. It doesn't really look as nice as the first page. The sky is getting darker. We don't see nearly as many truffula trees around. We don't see as many animals around, so things are starting to change. I meant no harm, I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagon, I biggered the loads of the thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. So the Onceler sounds like he's really kind of only thinking of himself, not thinking of the environment, not thinking of the animals he's hurting. He just wants to make more what? More money, yeah. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He snargled, he sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a cruffulous croak. "Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." And here are the swami swans. They look as bad as the barbaloots did. And yeah, so they're not doing very good either because the air is very polluted. And they aren't able to breathe in the air and sing and fly. "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough, they cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know, but they may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here." Oh. "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me share a few words about Gluppity Glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making Gluppity Glup and Schloppity Schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you." So this is all of the stuff in his big factory that he makes. So this is all of like sort of like the waste from his factory. So look what happens with that. It's a liquid, so it goes right into the pond. It just kind of dumps out of the factory into the pond. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. So that's also polluting the water, um, with all that stuff kind of being dumped in. It's important when you are at, the beach or Hopeful Pond or somewhere like that, that you make sure that you clean up all of your garbage and you don't have plastic bags getting into the water, that sort of thing. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my right, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into needs, which everyone needs. So the ones that are saying, I'm not stopping, I'm not slowing down. In fact, I'm going to do more. And take a look all around, though. The grass doesn't look good. The sky doesn't look good. I only really see one truffle tree down here. All the animals have had to leave. Oh, this is a sad page. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. Oh no, that was the last one. If you look in the distance, all you see are the stumps. That was the last truffle tree. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left, neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. Remember, this is the Onceler telling the story. So this is his factory. We never really see him. All we see are like his hands. And then of course here's the Lorax, and he is not happy about all this. So now the family's left, and there's no more truffle trees, so no more work. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place. Through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. So he just kind of left the Lorax. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the word unless. Whatever that means, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. So as you can see, things didn't just go back to normal. It takes a long time. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So remember, we're back now to the beginning where the boy is over here listening to the Onceler, and he's actually standing in his spot that says unless. Remember, in the beginning, he was in the Lorax was in that little spot. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffle seed, the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffle seeds. And truffle trees are what everyone needs. Remember, he didn't say needs, he said truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water. Give it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Tell the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. And that's the end. So the boy has the last truffula seed, so he can plant that, and then more truffula trees can grow. Then hopefully with those trees, the air will clear up, and then the barbaloots might come back, the swami swans might come back. So hopefully that would be great. All right, so that was the Lorax. So today I want you to be maybe thinking about or doing something to help take care of our earth, even if you use something to put it in the recycling bin. Maybe you could be planting something sometime soon. I know with our bean plants, a lot of some of your bean plants are actually doing well, but with those, a lot of you remembered how to, take care of plants, water them, give them sunlight, that sort of thing. All right, see you later.